Oh, I bet you went a bit like shit when that happened.
I was worried.
Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and Headbanging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. And it is reaction time as we're checking out Riot City. This is a band I'm pretty sure I've heard of before and known a little bit about. This is a band you've seen live as well, isn't it?
Yeah, alongside Dream Troll.
That's the one.
Yeah. Dream
Kind
Troll,
of sits in the heavy metal, like old school heavy metal vibe, yeah?
The new wave of traditional heavy metal or whatever, British heavy metal or whatever they want to call it these days. But yeah, very much that sort of vein, like they're well suited in that gig, like, Riot City, Traveller, Dream Troll, and Hannah War were the other one, weren't they?
COVID. That's how I always remember that gig just before COVID, isn't it?
Yeah, last one I went to for that period of time. But this is their second album. They released their debut back in 2019, which we reviewed over on a site called Burn the Night, which was really, really good. And then this one is Electric Elite, which came out on the 14th of October this year via No Remorse Records, Canadian band, very much inspired by name your band, Priest, whatever, like back in the day. At least I feel like when I listen to them, I do feel like they're a modern touch on it. They're not trying to be retro.
Yep.
They're just inspired by it. And I think that's a good thing. I don't need to listen to a band that sounds like they're from 40 years ago. Listen to a band that sounds like they're from now, playing music of a style that also existed 40 years ago. That's cool. And that's what I think they do. There's a lot of high energy stuff. They've expanded a bit. I did pick up in the review as well. They said themselves, there's a little some heavier, sort of more speed kind of moments, a bit more thrash involved sometimes now, and even a bit more power in that. Very, very powerful vocalist. But aside from that, you know what to expect from this sort of band. You're expecting big guitars, energy, music that should make you feel a bit pumped, and that's what I get from it. So, Tyrant is one of my favorite on the album, but I enjoyed the album a lot. I enjoyed the album a lot. I feel like I probably could have pulled like 4, 5, 6 tracks out, and I would have felt equally happy and comfortable playing them to you. So I went with this one.
Yeah, I'm not overtly familiar with the band. Everything you say makes a lot of sense in relation to what I'm looking at as well, because that cover. We haven't done a tier list of album covers in a while, probably due to follow that up and do another one. This won't go on there and probably be in one of the lower categories because I think that cover fucking stinks. Sorry, guys. I'm hoping the music's good, but that cover is awful. Be embarrassed.
But it makes so much sense. It's like a half robot leopard with lasers coming out of his eyes, of course.
What? But electric. You know what? The thing is, I'm taking a piss because I actually get it. I get what they're going for with this cover. This is, as you say, like an old school heavy metal style, obnoxious, stupid cover where it's like robots are cool, lasers are cool, lightning is cool. Put it all on a cover. Who cares? It doesn't make any sense. So on that front, I probably could argue it could also go in the top tier because it's totally tongue in cheek almost. But we're here to judge the music, not the cover. So let's do this in 3, 2, 1, go. Well, there it is. Oh no. Wait for that. Wait for some drum. Oh, not what?
Bass.
Not where I thought was going to go. Oh, I bet you went a bit like shit when that happens.
I was worried. long fade out.
Come on, guys, wrap it up. We'll stop there. Yeah, I figure that's the end there anyway.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. It's certainly not boring. Give it that. It's certainly not boring at all, which is surprising because, you know, a sort of traditional heavy metal throwback track that's almost over 5.5 minutes long does run the risk of kind of boring you after a while. You've heard the verse, you've heard the chorus, you've heard this bit, here's a solo and so on, that kind of thing. But thankfully, all the elements are so bloody good. It's hard to kind of get bored of that. Like, I would happily hear these riffs over and over again. I want to hear him sing. I want to hear him hit those highs and all that. I did think a couple of times, you know, that the highs were probably like your decibel limit, like getting to what you're just about able to put up with.
Yeah. Do you know, like, why it doesn't bother me? I do think mostly throughout the song, he kind of stays like, you know, sort of Judas Priest level, but also he uses his, because he's got a lot of fucking power in his voice, man.
Yeah.
But he uses the highest sparingly. He doesn't like just constantly do it. In fact, he only really goes to that really high level, maybe twice in the whole song.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's extra octave when it just kind of screeches a little bit, but it's so irregular that it's, yeah, if it was all the time, probably a bit of a problem. I mean, it is an excellent track. It really is. I mean, if you're going to do these sort of, I don't call them throwback because it sounds like, oh, we're just doing a throwback track into a tribute band and something like that. I don't mean it like that, but that sort of old school feeling, like it could easily fit within the 80s and that era. If you're going to do that, do it fucking well. You know, do it the best you possibly can. You've got to have the talent for that, and Riot City clearly do. So that intro was fun. I was just waiting for, you know, there was guitars, just waiting for a like drum intro. So the fact that you got this kind of bass echo, kind of like fuzz in your ear straight away before you then actually get that drum thing, that's a nice surprise. It's unpredictable. Didn't go where I expected to it. But man, oh man, I mean, the riffs that kick in, that's so groovy. That is so groovy. Yeah. The tempo is really, really cool as well because it's like, it feels energetic and energized, but it's not like fast paced,
crashy stuff, is it?
No. We've already mentioned epic. The vocals are epic. I mean, the dude's pipes are insane. What he can do, the levels he can reach, but the levels, the ups and downs, the kind of flow. He rarely seems to take much of a breath, except during really the soloing. But even then, like, you're just kind of waiting for it, and it fits each time. And lyrically, it all works. Listen to hear what he's saying. I really enjoy that. You got those group vocals that kind of come up in the chorus, which is a nice, cool touch as well. That variation, just that little something different that makes, again, it stay interesting all the way through it. Probably worth a shout because it's really easy to kind of get bogged down, I reckon. I mean, maybe you do bogged down by the right. So you might get bogged down by the riffs and the vocals as the things you focus on, because the riffs are the first thing that really introduce you to the track, the first thing that makes you go, oh, all right, this is cool, this is exciting, this is metal. And then obviously you get those vocals and all that. But man, don't ignore those drums, because that dude is he's doing some incredible stuff there. Really, really as well. But also, like, it's different at times. Like, it's different. Like, it's not just the same drum beat over and over again and stuff like that. And I thought that was really, really cool as well. Obviously, as well, how stupid would I be remiss to mention a long but a really exciting, interesting guitar solo wing back and forth, like a little bit of changing here and there to transition from one bit to another. I thought that was cool as well. Expected a solo at some point. Don't know what I expected or when I expected it, but when it came, it was satisfying amongst everything else. I'm going to go back to what I said at the start. It's not a boring track, and there should have been a point where I was like, I wish you'd cut that bit out, or maybe it was a little bit shorter and all that. The best I could say is maybe the last 30 seconds don't need that long drawn out bit. Yeah. But even I mean, that is such a tiny complaint, and even then, I don't really mean it. I'm just being pedantic more than anything else. It didn't offend me, but at that point, you know, my adrenaline is high. So it's just maybe a nice come down before I hit the next track, I'd imagine, like in my head on the album. Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's just a really good, really great heavy metal track.
Isn't it? Yeah, they're a cool band. I like this traditional stuff anyway. I like bands that are trying to do it, but like, you do have to do it well. And you know, I mean, like, you can't try and be Maiden or Priest or something like that. Like, you got to have something about you. And I do think like how I kind of ended the review on them was like, you know, it is nostalgic, it is retro, it does put you in that place, but it doesn't sound like a band. There isn't like you go, oh, they're being this band. It sounds like their own band, but that are influenced by people rather than they're trying to be Priest or they're trying to be something like that, which I think is kind of cool. So, but yeah, I like them. I think they're good. I think they're really good, man. I think they're really good.
Yeah, it's a good shout. I think that was a good song as well. That's Tyrant by Riot City from the newer album Electric. What is that? Electric?
Elite.
Electric Elite. You got any thoughts on it? You know what to do? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?